My name is Linora Gula. I'm from Easton, Pennsylvania, Forks Township, and I work for RCN Business Services as an account manager. I found out about Men and Women last year by working with Mike Lichtenberger. I've always been in some form affiliated indirectly with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, but when I found out Mike was running for Man of the Year, I decided to work with him on his campaign and support him and go to his events. What made me get involved with Man and Woman of the Year? It's because the society is very near and dear to my heart. And every year I was making a contribution because my father passed away from lymphoma, And because I found there was a local chapter here that I could actually donate to directly, it's a privilege to be able to work directly with a chapter instead of just mailing a check in the mail. What motivates me to put blood cancer to an end is because 32 years ago, my father passed away from leukemia. And at that point, there was no cure. He was getting treatments where he was a very vile man who worked a job during the day and then came home and took care of a 50-acre farm, to a man who was getting chemotherapy and it gave him double vision so he could no longer drive. And then probably about 2 or 3 months into the treatments, he became paralyzed and was bedridden or wheelchair bound. And that's where my passion is, because I don't want to see anybody suffer like that, especially not children. I think the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is probably one of the greatest associations I've ever worked with. And coming from a pharmaceutical background prior to RCN, I've worked with a lot of different organizations. The thing I like is the amount of money that goes back into research is just phenomenal. You don't see that with other organizations. Usually you donate $1 and by the time it gets to the research and development department, they're lucky if they get 10 cents. And with almost 79% of it being able to go back into research, how could you not support a facility like that? What sets me apart and makes me want to be and plan on being the Woman of the Year is the passion that I have behind my campaign. It's like I just don't stop. Even though I have set events, there's not one person that I talk to that I don't bring it up in some way, shape, or form of the conversation and say, so what are you going to do for me and help me? So the reason I chose to run for Woman of the Year is because my father passed away. It'll be 32 years on June 5th. And I'm doing it on behalf of him as well as all the other people that suffer for it. My father passed away exactly a week after I got married. He was diagnosed 6 months before I got married. And he actually got put in the hospital. I need a break.
That's right.
He was diagnosed 6 months before I got married. We weren't going to get married when we did, but when he was diagnosed in August, we decided, hey, at least let's get engaged. So we got engaged like every romantic couple in February. But then things started taking a turn and he became paralyzed and bedridden. So we decided, well, listen, we're going to get married anyhow. Let's see what we could pull off now. So we decided to get married on May 29th. And he was put into the hospital the Wednesday before I got married and basically declared dead because they could not get a pulse on him. I got called at work. I came to the hospital right away. I was told right upon at the receptionist desk to go right up to the doctor's office. He wanted to talk to me there before I saw my father. And he said, please sit here because this is not good. You might want to make some phone calls. And my husband and I, fiance at the time, were like, do we continue on with the wedding? Do we cancel it? What do we do? Let's just ride it out. And the doctor said, let's see what happens. And so we decided that we would just call everybody and let them know so that they were coming into town anyhow for the wedding, come in a couple of days early. We weren't sure what was going to happen. And we walked into my father's room and my father sat up as the nurse was trying to get a pulse on him and just looked and said, how did I get here? Why am I here? The nurse was like sheet white, like this shouldn't be happening. But it was like his second wind, I guess you could say, that he got. So he came around once again and we were able to get him a day pass out of the hospital. And in a wheelchair, he walked me down the aisle and saw me get married. Came to the reception and had to leave the reception early, obviously, because he got tired, but continued on. And the following Friday, when I was there, his best friend from work had come to visit with him, and we were in his hospital room, and he started just asking for things I couldn't give. And I went down to the chapel and I prayed, take him down before he starts asking me for things I just can't give him right now, like children. And the next morning I got a call. He had slipped into a coma, and by noontime he had passed. And that's why I want to be Woman of the Year, because I want this cured, so nobody has to go through what I've gone through, as well as what other people have suffered. There's a cure out there, we just have to get there. We're close, and I want to help get there.